Hey friends, welcome back. Today we're going to make fresh homemade pasta with my friend Liz. Okay, so for this pasta, all you need is 3 egg yolks. I just have them in the bowl here with some plastic wrap so they don't dry out. You need 1.5 cups all-purpose flour, so I have that. You need a 1/2 cup of semolina flour. I just use the Bob's Red Mill semolina flour. I found that works the best. Then you need just 2 eggs, and they both have to be at room temperature. We're going to do it kind of the old school way without any fancy equipment. So you need a rolling pin, a bowl, a big bowl. So I have that there. It's pretty large. I have a cutting board because I cannot cut on my granite countertop. My boyfriend will not be happy with me. So I have to cut everything on a cutting board. You'll need a fork, and then I'm just going to use this to get our egg yolk out since they broke. And then to dry the pasta, you will need some tall pitcher or whatever, even like a big bowl like this will work, or you can just put them in like little nests to dry them out, but I think this pitcher will probably work pretty well. Okay, so now it's just as simple as dumping everything in and mixing it in. So we will add our 1.5 cups flour here, and then our 1/2 cup of semolina flour. I'm just going to mix this up just a little bit, and then you literally just make a well in the middle, maybe. Okay, and then you just add your eggs in the middle. Any shell in there, so we're going to do it there. We'll just clean up later. Okay, so we have our 3 egg yolks and then our 2 eggs, and I got a shell. Okay, then you literally just mix up the eggs and then start to mix the flour in. It's literally that simple. Oops, I just flew flour everywhere. Okay, once it gets hard enough, like too hard to stir with your fork, it's kind of getting to that point, you'll move with your hands. Don't forget to take off your rings. I need to do that because you will hate having to clean them out. Okay, so now we're literally just going to take our hands and just mix this up as best we can. It's pretty sticky, so you're going to have it all over your hands. Off camera, Liz just made some good points that kind of cracked me up, that she would probably just dump the eggs in and not make a well. You could probably do that. I'm not really sure if it matters. I'm sure most of the time if you're doing a well, it's because you're doing it like on the counter and you don't want to make a mess of egg. In the bowl, I'm sure it would probably be fine. She also said she probably would not let the eggs sit at room temperature. I don't know what that would do. I guess I've never done it. You could probably try it. I think Liz needs to try it on her own and let me know how it goes. Okay, so you're not going to probably need all this flour. I'm just trying to get as much as possible because it's kind of flaky now, so I'm just going to work it with my hands. So you're going to have bits like this is pretty sticky and this is dry. So you just kind of want to work it in and get as much of this flour on your hands as you can because it's kind of sticky in parts. Okay, so see how it's kind of sticky right here, but like here is not. We're just going to add just a little bit of that flour and get it incorporated. Okay, so this is at a good point where I can start kneading this. So I'm just going to use some of this flour. It's not going to matter that kind of some of that egg mixture has mixed in. So we're going to move to the counter here. So just put some of that some of that flour mixture down. It's not going to matter that there's little bits here. And then you're just going to literally knead for roughly about 5 minutes. Oh, and if you don't want your shirt to get covered in flour, I would probably wear an apron. I probably should have put one on. That's alright. Okay, so I'm literally just going to knead this for another like 4 minutes. And I'll come back when it's ready, because nobody wants to watch someone knead for 5 minutes long. Okay, so we got it to this point. Now I'm just going to kind of put it in a ball. It's pretty tense right now. So what we want to do is let it sit for 15 minutes to half an hour just to let the gluten kind of relax. So I'm just going to put it in a ball. I'm going to cover it with cling wrap, and then we'll be back in 15-ish minutes. Okay, so I have it wrapped in some cling wrap, and then I'm just going to let it sit in this little shape for about 15 minutes to half an hour, just until I can kind of press it and it springs back. Right now, if you kind of look when I'm pressing, nothing happens. It doesn't really, it kind of wants to spring back, but it's not. So once it kind of springs back, you know it's starting to. You know that the gluten has relaxed and it's ready to go. Okay, so now we have our ball of pasta dough that's really good. It springs back. Kind of like that. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so it springs back really well. So now what we're going to do is roll it out. I just am going to roll it out with a rolling pin. So let's get some flour on here. Okay, so it's literally just as simple as rolling this out. I think Liz is going to do some of this too. Do you want to roll it out? Sure, do you want me to? Okay, we do a little bit like that. Okay, there you go. How about it? Okay, so pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to roll it out to as thin as you want it for pasta. So I would just keep doing what she's doing, just turning it and rolling it until it gets really thin, and just making sure that you have enough flour so it doesn't stick. It's going to take a hot second just to get it to a thinness that you prefer. So what I would do is maybe like pick it up and like turn it. That way you can kind of work one way. There you go. That's a little bit easier. Unfortunately, we are both very short and aren't super muscular, so it takes us a little bit longer, maybe than some people who have a little bit more downforce because you're a little bit taller. So it's going to take us just a little bit longer. Now with this, they say the recipe I use is Giada's recipe. I love this recipe. No oil, you know, nothing like that. No salt. I don't really think you need it. I just heavily salt my water when I'm boiling it, and it turns out perfect every time. This says it makes about 4 servings. Now obviously you might get a little bit more if you're using the roller. I might show that like in a later video, but this is just mainly a beginner video where I don't want you to have to go out and buy all the expensive equipment just to make some homemade pasta. So it's getting there. It's probably like 1/8 of an inch thick, but we want it thinner. So this is probably the hardest step right here, is just getting it rolled out so thin. And even like if you wanted thicker pasta, you could do it just like this and have it thick if you wanted. The problem you're really going to have with doing it like this is it's going to spring back and kind of move on you like it is. But it's getting there. Like, it's pretty thin. Obviously, I'm more used to doing it with my KitchenAid attachment. So I'm used to it like really thin. But today, this will be perfect. Okay, it's getting there. Even if you wanted it at this point, it'd be about perfect. I'm just trying to get it as thin as I can. Kind of looks like a pizza right now, but we'll cut it so it's a little bit easier. Okay, I think this is probably about good. What do you think?
I think it looks good.
Okay. So it's pretty thin right now. So I'm just going to kind of fold it like this. This is how I do pasta when I'm not using like a roller or anything like that. So I'm just now going to move it to my cutting board. Okay, so what I did is I just kind of rolled it up, and I'm literally just going to cut. I'm actually going to save about this much. We're going to do bow tie pasta. Okay, so I have it right here. I'm just going to cut a little bit off because we're going to show you how to do a bow tie. So I'll cut the layers there. They're pretty thick, but pretty thin. They're still pretty good. I think it'll be pretty good pasta. So there's that. Okay, so that'll be bow tie. So I'm going to set that over. And then we're literally just going to do this. As thin or thick as you want, we're just going to cut them. This is like more of a fettuccine. Like it'll be fairly thick. You can see that. So then literally what we're going to do is take it and lay it over just like that. So this is as simple as it gets. Just literally cut. They don't have to be perfect. It can be as rustic as you want. I think this is kind of how we did it last time Liz and I made pasta. We didn't really get too into it, right? Is this kind of, I think I rolled it thinner. I think at that point, I think that was when Liz had a very new puppy and everything had to be washed, so we really just couldn't do much pasta making. And he was kind of fun to play with, so I don't think we really were paying attention. See, like this one is a lot thinner than this one, and there's literally nothing wrong with that. That is okay. So I'm just going to take them just like this and just put them right over. Okay, so now I think Liz and I are just going to literally just take them and put them over like this. We have a little piece. It's okay. I'm just going to let that dry out. It'll still taste good. So literally just like this, we're just laying them over. Sorry. If you don't have a pitcher, you could use like a big bowl, kind of like I showed earlier, or whatever you wanted. Obviously, if you're using something to roll it out, you're going to get a little bit more pasta. I just wanted to show you guys how to roll them out by hand if you don't have a expensive roller. I know they do sell like the automatic like hand crank rollers for like, I think they're like $20 or $30. You could do that instead of like a KitchenAid roller. I just have one for my KitchenAid. But this, again, will taste just as good. Were they pretty good last time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you literally cannot go wrong with homemade pasta. So this will literally, once these dry, just put them in whatever container you want. I usually do just like a bag. You can freeze them. You can keep them in your pantry. I've done that. I haven't had an issue. Here's all of our pasta kind of in this. And I will show you kind of when we're done. So we're just going to set that to the side and let it completely dry out. We have some, yeah, I'm just going to dump that in there so they are out of the way. Now, what we're going to do with this chunk here is make a bow tie. We kind of did this last time. So what I do is I just make like rectangles. So we'll just do that. And this can be some smaller too. Like I can probably cut this. Okay, so we do have like a few little pieces, but we'll just make that into whatever. I'm not going to let this go to waste. So we'll just set that to the side. I have a plate right here that we're going to put our bow tie on. But literally, what we're going to do, we want small ones or big ones this time? What do you think? Like if I do this and I go this way, they'll be smaller? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to go in half. Well, my cut's not very even, but that's okay. And then you literally just make squares. So you're going to just literally chop squares. And these will be pretty small, and they'll cook a little bit faster with like these other noodles. You literally only need to boil these in heavily salted water for like 3 minutes until they're good, because you don't, again, it's fresh pasta, so it doesn't need to take as long as like boxed pasta would. Okay, so now we're literally, I think Liz and I will both show you what we're going to do is literally take this and you just pinch it. It's a little bit thicker than what I'm used to. So you literally just pinch it just like this, and it makes a cute little bow tie. So we're just going to do that. It's a little bit thicker, but that is okay. It's okay to have thick pasta. And we're just going to set it there. Sometimes you kind of have to rock your fingers a little bit. Like that one doesn't really want to close very well. That's okay. And then we're just going to set them on the plate to dry. Since these are so much thicker than what we did last time, it will take a little bit longer to dry. But you could even if you need to transport these somewhere, you can just put them in a bag with a little bit of flour and they will dry out kind of on their own. I just wouldn't close the bag all the way so they get some air to them. Okay, these are actually really cute when they're smaller like this. I think last time we made like really big ones.
I know.
And these, like the little pockets in them, kind of like, this is a good one, like the pocket holds the sauce so well. This one's a little bit odd shaped, but again, it's okay. We'll just fan him out a little bit. Okay, with these, I think I'm just gonna make like thin noodles, maybe? Yeah, that looks fine. And then with this one, we'll just make some odd shaped ones. Yeah, we'll do that. This one's a little odd shaped, but again, you're gonna eat it. Does it have to be super pretty? Probably not. With her husband and my boyfriend, I really don't think they care what it looks like.
They'll eat it.
They're both mechanics. They don't care. They'll eat it. Okay, so there we go. We have our bow tie pasta all done. It doesn't make a ton, but again, it's not super, super thin like it would be if you're rolling it out with a pasta roller. But this is all you really need. And then we have, whoops, all of these. And that's literally it. You just wait until they dry and you're done. Okay, so that is it. We made homemade pasta. Here is our bow tie pasta. I'm throwing it all over the counter. We just cleaned it. Okay, so here's our bow tie pasta that I literally just threw all over the counter. So right there, I'm not going to tip it anymore. And then all of this. Again, it's going to take a little bit longer to dry just because it's thicker than it normally would be with like a roller. I'll show you how to do that on a later video. But again, these will just dry and you can have them whenever. So, alright, that's it. Bye, guys.